Today's Health is brought to you by Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheats.
This morning on Today's Health, a rare and crippling genetic disease that is literally turning one little boy's muscle and tissue into bone. We're going to meet him in just a moment. You might be able to hear him just now. But first, NBC's chief medical editor, Dr. Nancy Snyderman, has his story.
Ready? I'd give up anything to either trade places with him or get a cure.
The Scoble family is in a race against time.
Eventually, it'll take over his entire body and he won't be able to move.
Their 3-year-old son, Josh, is battling a rare genetic disease known as FOP that turns muscle into bone and people into human statues.
Here they come.
I got it.
Josh looked normal at birth, but had deformed feet and hearing problems, the first signs that something was wrong.
I kept saying to myself, there's got to be something going on, and no one knew. We had no answers.
Then a lump formed on his back. Doctors were suspicious and made a fateful decision.
They had to cut open his entire back to remove the lump, which was the worst thing to do.
The lump was benign, but the trauma from the surgery led to mysterious bone growth, leaving Josh's back fully fused together and ultimately leading to a diagnosis.
It was tough. It was real tough.
Now, almost 3 years later, the disease is progressing quickly. Any bruise, any injury can cause more bone to grow, making a simple hug a tedious task.
He's getting to the point where it's hard for him to get his arms around our neck to give us a hug.
The Scobles do their best to protect Josh from injury, but loving him means letting him be a kid.
Hi. Woohoo!
As much time as he has left, I want him to enjoy it. I'd rather him look back and say, well, I had fun, rather than my parents didn't let me do anything.
Each day spent with Josh is seen as a gift.
Slow down. Stop.
But there are daily reminders.
This morning he said to me, Mommy, can you take the boo-boo off my neck? So, he's in pain, which makes it really hard to hear.
Is that sore there? Does that hurt? Yeah.
Painful swelling in Josh's neck has his parents worried, prompting a trip to the pediatrician.
Josh is an amazing young man, given all of the stuff he's had to go through, most of which is pain that I don't think any of us can probably understand.
While there is no known cure, recently scientists have discovered the gene linked to this condition.
It's going to take time to develop those very specific and very safe treatments that we can bring to Joshua and other children around the world. But in the meanwhile, education is a critical component.
The Scobles hold out hope that a cure will come and Josh will lead a long, healthy life.
He's the type of kid that when he smiles, everything's okay. He just makes everybody's life a little better, that's all.
And Josh is here along with his parents, Stacy and Dave Scoble. And there's that smile. And also Dr. Nancy is joining us also this morning. Good morning to all of you. Watching that tape, there were tears and joy because he kept looking at himself on TV and saying, oh, and responding to it. It seems that this has been a heart-bending experience. How would you describe it for other parents who may be listening, Stacy?
It's very difficult just to know that someday he might not be able to move completely. He's already slightly, I should say more than slightly, but he has limited mobility with his arms, so it's hard for him to reach his arms up. His entire back is fused, his neck movement.
And at the same time, you're joyful. When you looked at him, Dave, you were smiling at his joy in watching this. I mean, you want him to have
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Look at him.
He's tired.
Well, I don't blame him. We got him up early. And so this is actually quiet. You're saying normally it's more
Yeah, he's usually running around like a boy.
Yeah. This is a pretty rare genetic disease. There was something like 700 cases known worldwide.
It's very rare, and that's part of the problem because doctors really don't think about 1 in 2 million possibility. And where they're being seen at the University of Pennsylvania with Dr. Kaplan is really the epicenter in the country.
But BPS, I mean, if doctors don't diagnose this thing quickly, it can cause all kinds of unnecessary procedures, all kind of unnecessary pain. So what's the message in terms of this particular disease that doctors need to know?
As they found out, every little bump every surgery, every idea that you should need to sort of biopsy something leads to this change in the tissue where it really becomes bone, and the concern is your body can become frozen with bone. So at birth, to look at those feet, and I think that foot deformity, while people might think it's something else and innocuous, that's really the first clue. And doing nothing and being sort of a benign approach to things is better than investigating too much.
Right.
Would you agree?
What is Josh asking?
That mom, that you?
Yes, that's me.
That's right. He's seeing himself on
And
TV.
all these cameras.
I know.
Yeah, really, the toes, when he was born, the toes actually, there was a genetic doctor that walked in and walked back out crying almost because they realized that it was FOP. She knew.
FOP.
So it's a lot of education.
It was just discovered in 2006, and you have really been something because you guys have tried to raise money for research. You've raised $100,000 by hosting an annual bingo event for Josh.
Our sister-in-law started it.
It's amazing.
It's a very tight-knit community. These families tend to find each other. And because it's such a rare niche disease, the concern is always, will they get the funding for the research and how will it go forward? So these parents and patients tend to find each other. It's a very committed group. And fortunately, a really great doctor who has helped spearhead this.
All right, Dr. Nancy, Josh, and Stacy, and Dave, thank you so much, all of you.
Thank
Lots
you.
of love to your family, dear.
Thanks.